Traveling to Negril or any part of Jamaica can be expensive, but today I'm going to show you how you can do it on a budget. Hi, I'm Zoe, a digital nomad who travels around the world on a budget. I recently returned from a 5-day trip to Negril that cost less than $1,000, flights included. Let me show you how you can do the same. So the first thing I recommend doing when you're looking to purchase a trip is to start by looking on Google Flights. Google Flights is going to give you the most diverse options for all budget types. So first things first, I'm going to head over to Google Flights. Check it out here. And then I'm going to say I want to do a round trip from Washington, D.C. to, let's say, Negril, but it's actually going to be Montego Bay Airport, Sangster International Airport. So I'm going to start there. Then I'm going to choose the dates I want to go. And so let's say I want to go in a couple of weeks. Let's try... let's see. So you see here already with Google Flights, they have different options. They show you already how expensive the flight's going to be that day, right? You have the green sort of options here that are highlighted that show like, okay, this is probably the better day to book. So really, if I wanted to go possibly next week, I might be able to get a pretty good deal. So let's try leaving on the 16th and then coming back on the 23rd. All right, so let's try that. And then let's give that a quick search. Just gonna close that. All right, cool. And so now we're seeing all of our options here that we have available to us. Now, if you're a person who prefers to travel with a certain airline or things like that, you can filter that. You can go to the airlines tab here and then, filter by alliance if you're a Star Alliance, One World Alliance, SkyTeam Alliance member, or just filter for specific airlines that you want to fly with. This is really useful and something I definitely recommend if you're trying to rack up miles and points or gain status with an airline. You definitely want to try and fly with only one airline for as much as you can. So personally, I try and fly with American Airlines because they seem to cover the greatest number of places that I need to go. So for me, what I would do is actually just say American only and see what results I get at this point. All right, so now we're seeing trips around 549, not too bad. Let's see if we can get any better. Let's see. So now that I've added in the American Airlines filter, you can see now that the numbers have changed. I'm not seeing that mid 300 number anymore. I'm seeing more of a low 400. Okay, so if I leave on the 16th, I'm going to pay $459. But if I leave on the 29th, which is Black Friday, I'd get a little bit of a better rate. But I don't need to necessarily travel on a holiday. I could travel, let's say, on the Monday. I could even travel on the Saturday. So let's see. If I travel on the 7th of December and come back on the 14th, but they seem to say, yeah, there's a ticket here with American Airlines, $402 round trip from DCA to MBJ. Looks pretty good to me. So this would be the first thing I would do when looking for a ticket. Definitely try Google Flights. If you're not airline specific, you can definitely check out a whole bunch of different airlines all at once. And it really puts it in a nice graph so you're able to see all the options you have for flight days over, as you saw, several months. I find going on the individual airline website sometimes doesn't necessarily give you the best selection. They kind of limit you to a few days in front or behind of the date that you think you might want to go. But if you have some flexibility in the days that you take, you just want to take off a week and it doesn't matter when, would definitely recommend trying Google Flights. So that's my first tip. My second tip is actually trying to book with miles and points rather than cash, because miles and points are usually going to give you a better bang for your buck when it comes to booking expensive flights. So if we take a look at, again, American Airlines, I'm just going to do the same search. I'm going to say from DCA to Montego Bay, and I'm going to click the button Redeem Miles. So I want to see how many miles it's going to cost. I'm going to depart. Let's do those same dates. 7th, come back on the 14th. I'm going to search. So we'll see what the miles to points sort of value is here. Loading it up. All right, cool. So we're seeing that we're getting options as low as 25,000 points plus $150. So that's probably, it's an okay value, but it's probably not going to be that much better than the cash value, which we saw was about $402. If we check out this larger miles and points calendar, let's see what we can see here. So if we do look at the specific miles and points calendar, we see that really the lowest you're going to get in this period is about 12.5 thousand points each way. So that's something good to note. I'm sure you can get a better deal if you go, at a less demanding time of year, or if you book very far in advance. But for now, it seems like the best deal you're going to get is 2.5 thousand miles each way. I personally have gotten a lot of tickets booking in advance for 8,000 miles each way with very minimal taxes and fees, like under $60. So I think that for me, that has been much more advantageous. For instance, I could show you an example here that I booked just the other day. If I book from Cleveland to Grenada, Grenada, leaving on December 6th. Now, this is a one-way, mind you, but assuming you can get a similar deal coming back, which you probably can. As you saw, the 12.5 to Montego Bay was 12.5 each way. 12.5 thousand points, that is. And I'm seeing now deals for 10,000 points, which for me seems like a lot better deal. But we can verify this deal. So we see, all right, you're leaving Cleveland at 6:44 p.m., reaching Grenada at 12:50, and you're going to spend 10,000 points plus $26. Not too bad. If you go back, it says new search, but really if you go back and just uncheck the redeem miles option, and then you go in and you do the search again, you'll see here that, just let it load up for a second. Yeah, you'll see here now that if we look for that same flight, so it was leaving at 6:44, 6:44, arriving in Grenada at 2:50. That price is $462 for the flight. So 10,000 points and what was it, to like $26 versus $462. Usually when we value points, we're thinking about 1 cent per point. That's sort of an average ratio. But when you check this out, you're getting more than 4 cents per point value. It's really an outsized value that you're getting on this ticket by booking just with miles and points. You know, for reference, I think getting into like a lounge, which might cost you between $50 and $70 for the day with American Airlines, would cost you maybe 7,500 points. So it's about, you could say that's about $70. But in this case, you're paying maybe what we call an equivalent of $100 to book a flight for that's really costing, and $100 plus the 26, so $126, that's actually going to cost you $462 with points. So definitely check out using miles and points instead of using just cash if you can manage it. American Airlines actually, and again, I just fly American a lot, so I know a lot of their products that they have available. They have a really great card that I think it's a $0 fee or a $70 fee for the card, but it's a sub $100 fee card. You make one purchase, anything, it could be a stick of gum kind of thing, and you get a set of bonus points. The bonus points vary depending on the time of the year, but I think when I got the card, it was about 70,000 bonus points. So you can imagine, you could go to Grenada and come back multiple times with just that one card and that possibly sub $100 fee. So for me, I would end up getting at least 7 flights if we're using this formula for basically $26 a flight plus the sub $100 fee. So for me, that's totally worth it. I would definitely recommend checking it out. I think it's called the Aviator Red MasterCard or something like that. It's their very like intro level credit card that they have. So definitely check that out if they have a bonus available where you will get those bonus points by making a very, very small purchase of literally anything. So once you've booked your flights and you've decided on your dates, you need to figure out where you're going to stay. And this is super important because this can really make or break your budget. My third step is to book a decent but affordable hotel. You don't need to splurge and go to the most expensive resort you can find. You can get a really solid experience for an affordable price. Personally, I stayed at White Sands, Jamaica, and I loved it. I thought it was a great experience, really comfortable accommodation, really right on the beach. You have full beach access. So yeah, definitely would check out White Sands. They have their rates available on their website, and you can see that depending on when you go, you see that we were booking from December 7th to 14th. So that still falls within their summer category. You can get a garden-side hotel room for $82.65. And if you want to splurge and go for a beachside, it's only $3 more. So would definitely recommend checking them out. There are a bunch of hotels like White Sands that offer these really affordable rates. I just know from my experience, I had a really great time staying there. So we've booked our flight, we've booked our hotel, and now it's time to travel. But how do we actually get from the airport to our actual location? Step 4 is to book your transportation. So if you look up Negril, Jamaica, and you check it out on the map, get some directions from Montego Bay Airport. You'll see that it's, right now there's traffic, it's up to 2 hours of a drive. So that's something that, at least in America, could really break your budget if you had to take a 2-hour taxi to get to your hotel. But Jamaica has a lot more affordable options. There's actually a company called Juta, Juta, and they have really affordable airport transfers. So if you go to their website and you select your destination, so we've decided on White Sands, you can book it round trip, or you can book it each way. If you book it one way, It's $30. If you book it round trip, it's $60. Doesn't matter, whatever you're more comfortable with. You can book this online ahead of time, or you can just go up to the counter same day and actually book it in person. I'm not sure if that's more expensive. I booked it ahead, but you can definitely do same day in person if that's preferable to you. But at $30 each way, that's not really going to break the bank as it would in America. I'm sure a taxi for like 2 hours would cost like hundreds of dollars. So definitely recommend checking out Jota. They're very safe, recommended, reputable company, and they're right in the airport. So they'll pick you up right there and take you to where you're going. And also your hotel might actually offer a transfer service. So definitely reach out and check with them to see if that's something that's available for you. So now we've made it to Jamaica. We've gotten to our hotel, we've checked in, and we're ready to enjoy our experience. But what are we gonna do this entire time? Step 5 is to do excursions that don't necessarily break the bank. Personally, unless there's something really particular that you've always dreamed of doing in Jamaica, I wouldn't recommend booking too many excursions ahead of time. By booking ahead of time, you're going to end up paying tourist and much more expensive prices than you would if you just booked when you got there. And again, this is very dependent. If you want to do a day trip somewhere very specific or something that's very hard to get access to, then you definitely want to book ahead of time. But if you know that you just want to go on a snorkeling tour and you don't really care who it's with or where exactly the snorkeling spot is, then I would definitely recommend trying to book when you get there. Usually your hotel can recommend some reputable companies, reputable captains, reputable drivers, and you can get a much better rate if you book same day, if you join on a group tour, if you pay in cash. Usually when you book prior to, you're gonna end up paying with your card. So definitely would recommend booking just when you get there, either same day or day before. I think you're gonna get a much better deal. But yeah, I would recommend doing things that don't break the bank. Go on snorkeling tours, waterfall tours, take a cooking class, stuff that's really going to let you experience the nature, the beauty, the culture of Jamaica without forcing you into a very sterile tourist experience. Just an example of how these tours can be so expensive. If I look up snorkeling tour Jamaica, if I go on TripAdvisor and see what recommended activities there are, I'm seeing prices of $130, $200, I'm seeing prices of $130 and $200 for just a snorkeling boat ride situation. Now that might be a private experience, so maybe that's why it's so much more expensive. But if you're not interested in a private experience, again, we're trying to do this on a budget. You can join in with a group of other people. You can definitely get this experience for less than $50 a person. So would definitely recommend checking out local tour operators once you get to Jamaica. Ask your hotel if they have any recommendations. The 6th step that I'd recommend now is to eat in local restaurants. When you go to Negril, when you go to Jamaica, the local food is fantastic. That's part of why you go. You go to experience the culture, the food, what there is to offer. And by eating at your hotel, you might have very convenient meals, but you're usually going to be paying tourist prices. You're going to be paying in American dollars. Most hotels charge American prices for the food, and to be honest, usually the American prices at hotels are somewhat reasonable, for an American meal. But in the Caribbean and in Jamaica, food is actually a lot more affordable for Americans. I wouldn't say it's necessarily affordable for Jamaicans, but yeah, typically food in Jamaica does not run the average like $20 US per meal. You're usually going to pay under $10 a meal US for a really good meal in Jamaica, as long as you're not eating in a sort of tourist trap or at a more pricey hotel. So I would definitely recommend getting off the beaten path and eating at more local restaurants. I mean, don't put yourself in any sketchy situations. But if you just go and look at Negril. All right, so let me try and search for food and see if I can get some options here. Let's check out this place right here. All right, so I see a menu. Let's see if we can get a good look at it. And there we go. So we're seeing more affordable meals. So we're looking at a breakfast platter for $1,400 Jamaican, which is less than 10 US. They have Rasta pasta for $1,300, again, less than 10 US. Garden salads, porridges, everything on this menu is less than $10 US. So this is just an example of, if you do search around, if you do look, you can definitely get much more affordable meals outside of your hotel. But sometimes the convenience of eating at your hotel can also help. So I'll leave that up to you to make your decision on what makes the most sense for you, but just know that you can get really, really solid meals in Jamaica really affordably. And one thing that you have to get when you go to Jamaica is a patty. If you've never had a Jamaican patty, it's definitely something you gotta try. And they're very, very affordable. It's something that most people eat in a week or in a month because they're just an affordable but filling snack. I would definitely recommend heading over to the local Juicy or Tasty, whoever the closest patty maker is, and trying out one of the Jamaican patties. And yeah, again, a very affordable, sub $500 Jamaican snack that will actually fill you up like a meal. And the final step is a two-part step. First, I would recommend that you bring some cash when you're coming. Not everywhere in Jamaica takes cards, so to avoid paying hefty fines once you arrive, you want to bring some cash with you from wherever you're coming from. If you're coming from the US, definitely bring US dollars. If you're coming from Europe or Canada or somewhere different, you definitely want to think about converting to US dollars, because even if you don't end up converting to Jamaican dollars, most places in Jamaica, as we've seen, take US dollars. So definitely would recommend coming with US dollars if it's feasible for you. The second part of this tip is to actually then go and convert your US cash into Jamaican dollars, because you're gonna get a much more favorable exchange rate if you convert your cash prior to going to each merchant and then trying to convert with them. I wouldn't recommend converting at the airport because the rates are not really great there. But if you reach out to your hotel, speak with your driver, they may be able to recommend a local currency exchange that will give you a much more favorable rate. So would definitely recommend bringing cash and then, if possible, converting it to Jamaican dollars. As I said, it's about 150 US to 1 at the time of recording. And yeah, I've definitely found that paying with Jamaican dollars gets you much more bang for your buck typically. But again, depends on your conversion rate. And those are my 7 trips on how to travel Negril on a budget. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Consider subscribing down below if you want to see more content like this. And check out this video right here if you're interested. It'll explain how I began this great adventure of traveling around the world on a budget. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.